Hello there, this is MTG Degree, and today we are talking about the upcoming Magic set Eternal Masters. The full spoilers are out, so I thought that I would do my final thoughts and update on this. My initial impressions were released about 3 months ago, and one of the big things that I said there is, of course, still true. Eternal Masters does face a problem, which is that it's almost impossible to make Legacy cheaper as long as the reserve lists exists. All the prices that go down based on the cards that are reprinted will simply move into reserve list cards that cannot be reprinted. Now, that to me is not really a problem. And the reason why is because we all know that the reserve list exists. We're getting this set to try to support that format as much as possible. And what I can say very succinctly is, it is incredible. So looking back at Modern Masters 2, our most recent example of a printing like this, that had very few cards with any value. I mean, I can fit them all on the screen super easily, you know? And Eternal Masters is not that way. When you played Modern Masters, sometimes you'd have an entire deck where not a single card you ever actually played in Modern. But with Eternal Masters, it is full to the brim at every rarity of cards that are played in Legacy and Vintage. It is incredible. I'm just going to start letting them roll on the side because there's just so many of them. The set is ideal. This is exactly what people want when they want reprints. The only things that I would say about it is that when you look at Eternal Masters, there are some things that could be improved. For example, you could print more of it. The understanding that I've come to is that there will be less printing than Modern Masters 2. And that's really unfortunate. I feel like when they're doing these reprint sets like this, they should just embrace that concept. Like, we are really going to reprint this stuff. And they did embrace that concept in the list of cards that's in the set. It really is a reprint set. But as far as the numbers, I'd like to see some more printing. That would be fantastic. And then the other thing is that the packs are still an MSRP of $10. Now, that is a bit of a tough one, because if you say MSRP is $4 or something like that, just a standard set, then of course, you know, vendors can just sell them for 10 if people are willing to pay 10, and so people still end up paying a lot. So I came up with this idea, which is perhaps crazy. You can tell me in the comments what you think about this idea, which is that Wizards mandates a lot of things for a store to be an official Magic store, right? Like, oh, you have to have like play space, and you have to run F&Ms, and there's all sorts of like little regulations. They say you have to do X, Y, and Z, you know, that kind of thing. And an idea is, if you're going to mandate all these things, why not try mandating MSRP? Like, not for everything else, but when you're really trying to drive down the price of a format, like when Modern Masters 3 comes out, you could just say, if you want like to be an official Magic store, you have to sell Modern Masters 3 or some product like that at the MSRP. And, you know, people will still buy it, and they'll make tons of sales. They just won't be able to increase it more. Or they could take these limited sets and release them at places like Walmart, in which case then local game stores would have to compete and then sell them at MSRP. I don't like that, though, because I like the game stores getting the product. So, just a crazy idea. Thought I'd throw that out there. You can tell me in the comments what you think of saying you have to sell this at MSRP. I know it sounds crazy, but just a thought that I had. So to wrap up my thoughts on Eternal Masters, it is incredible. I love the card list. This is exactly what people want to see. And it's a huge, huge, massive leap in the correct direction that I did not even expect. You saw in my video when it was first announced that I didn't have that much excitement because I thought that it would be much closer to Modern Masters 2. If there was like a spectrum of what cards and the amounts that you would reprint, Modern Masters 2 is like on one end, and then Eternal Masters is like, hey, we heard your feedback, and they just cranked it all the way up to the other end. They just reprinted a ton of cards. All right, well, there's a little bit of time here that I can use to make an announcement, which is pretty exciting. Basically, it boils down to you can be in one of my future videos. So the idea for this comes from the fact that I see some of you guys at game stores or sometimes at GPs, and it's awesome. I get to hang out with you, but it's very rare that you get to meet me, really. The amount of subscribers I have as compared to the amount of times that I've met you in person is just a huge disparity. So I thought that it might be fun for us to do something together. So I am going to hold a little mini tournament called the Subscriber Smackdown. So here's how it's going to work. First, go on Steam. If you don't have Steam, then you have to download Steam. It's free. Download the game Brawlhalla. And then, once you've downloaded it, send me a friend invite. I am MTG Degree on Steam. The first 8 people to do this will be in the tournament. So then the tournament is basically going to be you 8 doing a bit of a tournament to get to the top, and then at the end, I will be the final boss. And we'll all voice chat while this is happening so I can talk with you folk. That tournament will be held on June 4th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so make sure that you can be there for it if you're part of the tournament. If you add me as a friend and the full tournament roster has already been done, then we can just be friends on Steam, and if I'm in a game of Brawlhalla or something, then you can hop in and play a game with me. I know a lot of you might want to play games of MTGO, but I can't afford MTGO, and I know a lot of my subscribers can't afford it along with Paper Magic, so we're just going to play a free-to-play game, which is still pretty darn competitive and fun. I'll post the final results soon after the Subscriber Smackdown is done, and as always, I'll see you next video.